Hello. What are you all doing here? What do you want here? So, this is a little story. Once upon a time, can you hear me?
Yeah.
She can hear me. Once upon a time, there was a guy called Tony Parsons, and he was a seeker. Good-looking guy, but and he was married to a very beautiful Claire, who you all know. And together they ran an alternative magazine very successfully in southern England, in London. And one day, Tony Parsons decided to try and write a book about what he thought he knew, and about therapy and all that sort of thing. So he wrote this book, part of it, and then he read that part of it and threw it away because it was awful, really, terrible stuff. And he went off and played golf for a while. But all the time that was happening, there was something else going on which can't be described. I can tell you there was something else very simple and quiet going on. Not with him, but going on. And he started writing The Open Secret. And it was written over quite a long time, and it was a sort of inspired thing. He didn't really write it, as far as I'm concerned, he didn't write it, but it got written. And in some way or other, some of the things in it just came out of the blue. And Claire can tell you, I would be in bed, and suddenly I'd rush up and rush downstairs and write something, and in the middle of the night. Really, it sort of came from nowhere. Anyway, we published the book, and we tried to sell it through our magazine, obviously, and we did sell quite a few copies of it. But nothing happened for a year. Not that anything happens at all, actually. Did you know that? And then somebody phoned up and said, I've read your book, The Open Secret, and it talks about another possibility. Would it be possible for you to come to London, a suburb, Dulwich, and talk to us about another possibility? So I went there, and I went into the room, and I sat down, and there were 5 people there. And I started talking, and suddenly, it was amazing sort of recognition of something. So we talked, and that was that. And then they said to me, would you come again to London, to a house in London? There'll be quite a few people, we think, there. And I went there, and there were about 30 odd people in the room. And I talked. And that went on a couple of times more. Well, it went on forever, actually, but anyway. After a couple of meetings, I went there on a Saturday usually. And I went there and sat down, and there were quite a few people down, more people. And at the very last minute before I talked, a Buddhist came into the room in full regalia. He had everything on. But when he walked into the room, it was really important. As far as he was concerned, it wasn't for me. He walked in such a way, it was like a statement. I am walking into this room. So he sat down, and I started and did my introduction. Only my introduction. When I had finished my introduction, he stood up in a very important way and walked out of the room and said, in a very important way, in a sort of important, disgusting way. Never came back. And I considered that to be one of the greatest compliments I've ever had. Anyway, the book went on and I talked to more and more people and it generated more and more interest. And so we were running groups in London and America, going to America and so on, both of us. And we were doing retreats, mainly in England and in America and other places. And out of that came other people who had been and wanted to talk themselves, so we talked together and we helped them in their own way talk about this. And since then it's become what it is now. It's amazing. I think it's but in a way, it's wonderful to watch. And what is it about? What is the Old Secret? Or what is this message about? It's about something very simple. Very simple. There is no one. There is nothing. There is simply nothing. Everything is only nothing apparently happening. This is nothing. There isn't anybody here. There isn't anything here. There is just an image, an expression of nothing. And that what arises is simply the mystery of nothing apparently happening. And that's what this message is about. Something very simple, staggeringly simple. All there is nothing apparently happening. There is no one. There is no meaning or purpose at all. There is nowhere to go. And there's nowhere that anybody has ever come from. All there is this immediacy. So we can talk together, and there's two things in a way we could talk about. We could talk about the total and utter helplessness of the seeker and the utter futility of any idea that there's anything to find. We could talk about that. It's quite easy in a way to talk about that. The thing we can't talk about, we only talk around, is the absolute amazing simplicity and beauty and wonder of this message. Thank you. Oh yeah.
Hello. For being here today.
Thank you for not being here.
Yeah, my question is what's the difference between darshan and your message and your energy?
Well, actually, I'm not very good at that sort of thing. Darshan is taught by an apparently enlightened master.
No,
What is
it's
darshan?
just quiet. They just sit there, let you do, but they don't say anything.
Oh, well, I don't
So
know.
it's all the
There's
same.
no difference between this and anything else. All there is what's happening. If darshan's happening, that's what's apparently happening. But there's nothing arising in the form of darshan apparently happening.
Okay, thank you.
There isn't anything that has any value. There's no value. There's no value in this message. It gives nothing to anyone because there isn't anyone to give anything to. There's nobody sitting in this room. As far as this is concerned, this can't see anyone. There isn't any individual. They're just his energy in this form. And so there's no significance between darshan, meditation, silence, whatever. One of those things are nothing apparently taking form. The difficulty for the seeker is that the seeker's always looking for something significant, something they can get hold of as an object and own for themselves. So therefore, for the seeker, there seems to be significance. When there is no one, it is seen that there is nothing that is significant. There's nothing that's outstanding or important or spiritual or any of those things. There simply is what is. And what is an appearance of nothing. What is nothing appearing. This is nothing appearing in this form. It has no meaning or value of any kind at all. It just simply is what it is.
So what I'm feeling is that there's energy appears as a form. So there's energy first and then the form
Well,
appears.
there's not anything first.
No,
There is no first.
no,
There's no second.
just energy.
There's only nothing. There's only nothing.
Oh,
And out of that seems to arise
as a
what seems to be happening. You could call it, I like calling it energy.
Okay, so that's what I'm confused.
Your speaker is on.
That's,
Your microphone.
yeah, well, that's a confusion. But
When I wake up in the morning, before I wake up, there's energy, and then
No,
You've turned the mic on.
so there isn't an energy before and after. There isn't a before and after. All there is this.
continuous
What is. All there is
energy.
what is.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all right.
When you were fast asleep, now
Yeah.
I've interrupted your sleep. Because you tell me when you're fast asleep, when you wake up.
I don't know anything.
Oh,
No.
no, not do I.
Good. Okay, thank you. Bit confused, but I do get parts of it. I get what you mean, but I think the understanding is it would have to go into energy for me to understand it rather than come from logic. Sometimes.
Okay, so let's be clear about something else here.
Yeah.
There is nothing to get. No one has ever got this. Nothing has ever got this. Because it is all that there is. Even not getting it is it. It's what is. All there is what is. It's very, very simple.
Okay, thank you.
Too simple almost.
So are all the questions meaningless?
Meaningless.
Yeah.
Yeah. There isn't anything that has any meaning. There's no meaning here, there's no meaning anywhere.
Right.
Meaning would need time. Time is simply an appearance. There is no real time. So meaning needs time to work itself out, just as purpose does.
Yeah.
No, there is no meaning, there is no purpose. There is only what is. This. And what is only an appearance. It's not real. There's nothing that's real. That's the other great illusion that the individual is under, and that is that they live in a real world. They are real. The world is real. The story is real. Free will is real. All those things support the sense of seeking. And as the seeker goes on looking here, looking there, and looking there, and looking there, and trying to find the meaning. Where's the meaning? All the time there's a sense of reinforcement of seeking. All of that reinforces. Meaning, there's no meaning. If there was meaning, then we'd be in another room, somewhere else looking for it. That's not going to happen here. There is nothing to find, because everything is already the beloved. This is the beloved. Whee!
Right. There is something that there's more or something else.
So there's nothing else. There's no more. There's nothing else. There's nothing under it, or above it, or over there, or just over there. And this is the thing that the thinker can't comprehend, and this is which is so utterly different. This is about something staggeringly simple. It's so, I almost fell over How can it be so simple and obvious? It's utterly simple and obvious. Over there. This, just this. This is the lover. You're sitting on the lover. You're hearing the lover. You're smelling the lover. You're touching the lover. You're thinking the lover. The lover is constantly singing to you. But it can't be heard because you're looking for is much more complicated than just a song. This is the way you survive. The way the seeker survives is by seeking. It doesn't necessarily recognise that, but somewhere it does. And it knows that if it goes on seeking, it won't die. It will survive and go on and on and on. Mainly.
Hello.
Hello.
So, the seeker, which does not exist, does many things apparently, and so all those things are nothing happening. So whatever it happens, if there is a seeker, if apparently there is a seeker going to meditate, going to school, whatever, is what happened. Is what's
Of
happening.
course.
So there's nothing
There's
to
nothing
do.
in the form of a seeker.
Right. Or to do or not to do.
No,
because
there's
it's
nothing to
still
do.
what is
There's
going
anybody
on.
to do anything. There's nothing to do.
Thank you.
Reminds me of a baby.
Reminds me of being a baby then when there's nothing to do, but just like be like a baby, be like a baby with no thoughts and be happy.
Unless you are like little children, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven, some guy said once. I think it was Jesus.
Jesus, yeah.
In a way, it's sort of like, it's a bit old-fashioned now, but
Yeah, but if you say it's
Same
like
thing.
baby's energy and
it's
things,
the
it seems
innocence.
to be
You've lost your innocence.
Mm.
You've become an authority. You've learned at an early age to know. And you've grown up and revere the idea of knowing. If you look at the world we live in, it reveres the idea of knowing. Knowing gives you power. Knowing gives the government power. Knowing gives the people power. Knowing means the individual knows he gets power in some way or other. Actually, what it does is it completely obliterates, or it doesn't obliterate, it completely hides its innocence by trying to know everything. There's no, and in a way, the more it knows, the less it wonders.
Sounds like poetry.
Hmm?
Sounds like poetry.
So when you did the introduction, there was a huge fear arose here. A huge fear arose.
Where?
Yeah, here.
Oh, there.
When you did the introduction of like a sense of losing all control.
Losing control.
Losing all control in a way.
that you believed you had. Which is another good joke.
But
What would have happened? What would have happened if you'd lost control?
I don't know.
So it was the unknown you feared more than it.
Yeah, I guess.
This is about the unknown.
Yeah. But isn't that what everyone fears in a way? The unknown.
Most individuals fear the unknown, yes, because they live in what they think is, or they dream is, the known.
Mm.
I know who I am. I know what the world is, and I know how to succeed in the world, they hope. But basically they live by what they know. They grow up and learn to know many things.
Yeah.
And the more they know, the more powerful they believe they are. It's all a dream. It's all an illusion of a dream. But it's based on the use or the value of knowing.
This sense of feeling like an individual, is it seems what you said, like it's to do with a sort of a tension or a contraction in the body, can feel like that at least. It can feel like a tension or a contraction in a way in the body like this.
The other difficulty the individual has is they want to know why they feel contraction, why they feel separate. So they then investigate why they feel separate. But of course they only investigate it in terms of what they can know, hence psychotherapy, religion, and all of those sort of processes which they believe they can learn more about what it is that keeps them separate. But of course inevitably there's nothing that can be known or nothing that can be found, because there is no such thing as separation. There's an apparent separation, but there is no real separation. There's nothing to be separate from, because even the feeling of being separate is also what is. So what they look for is everything, but they look for it in a particular way. They objectify what they think they want to have to get rid of separation, and therefore they're looking for an object that they can own for themselves and make use of. That's why all seeking, the seeking of the seeker carries out is absolutely wonderfully, beautifully futile.
I feel like if there is a question here, I feel like it needs to be asked, or if there is a question here, I feel like it needs to be asked.
What needs to be asked?
The questions of here, the questions. Like I feel like I need to ask my questions.
Oh, right.
Because
Okay.
what? Yeah, I know. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like it's, yeah, I'm just saying.
So why would there be a question if everything is what you long for? Because what you feel is that you have to do something about that. You have to take some sort of action which will allow you to see what's being suggested, and that is that everything is already the beloved. And when taking the action, you are then confirming that you want to know something that can't be known. And by confirming that you want to know something that can't be known, you keep yourself firmly in the seeking mode.
So nothing needs to happen.
There is nothing that does happen. There's only nothing apparently happening. This is nothing apparently happening. Which is the paradox, of course. Which can't be known. This can't be known. It's incomprehensible. It's the one thing that can't be known.
How do you know that?
Sorry,
How do,
I don't know anything, there's no one
No.
here. This is just a response out of nothing. There's nothing that knows anything, it's just a response.
a response? How do you know that's right?
I don't know, there is no one here. But what's coming out of this mouth is a response of nothing. What you're doing is listening to nothing, responding. And what's happening here is this is listening to nothing asking a question.
So you know when you think, when you have a thought, does it go back into nothing?
It doesn't go back into nothing. It is only already nothing. All there is nothing. All there is nothing. All there is nothing.
So it's not nothing and then an appearance and then it falls back.
So there,
So it's not that it's nothing and then something appears and then
no, whatever appears is nothing.
but coming from nothing.
No, it doesn't come at all from nothing. It is nothing. This is nothing. It doesn't come from nothing. It's nothing. This voice, these responses don't come from nothing. They are nothing responding.
Okay.
There's no journey. There's no outside, and later, and beyond, below, and above. There is only this. There is only immediacy. This is immediacy. All there is immediacy, including the idea that there isn't immediacy.
It will come in a moment. So this idea, so I guess when I think of nothing, I think of nothing happening.
I don't even think of nothing.
No, yeah, but I do, right?
You can think of your idea of what you think nothing is, and it's not nothing.
Okay, so that's the mistake. That when I think of nothing, I think of nothing like silence, nothing, and then something occurs in nothing is how I understood it.
I know it is just nothing apparently occurring.
Apparently
You're
occurring.
looking at nothing. You're speaking from nothing. There is only that.
So it's our mind that's seeing it separate. Is that it? Like,
No, there isn't
like-
really a mind. If you like to think of it as a mind, what you think is nothing thinking.
so, but nothing sometimes thinks and sometimes doesn't think. Sorry.
Well, there isn't a sometimes and then later on another sometimes. There is only this. There is only what is. And if there's a thought that arises, this is what is. It doesn't come from anywhere or go anywhere. There's nothing to come from and nothing to go to. There is only this. What is.
So it's one state. So it's one state, like
No, it's not a state. There is just what is. You can't even call it one. When you call it one, you're then back into the confusion of it not being two. There's no such thing in non-dualism. Just a term pointing to nothing apparently happening. The everything and the nothing. So there isn't a nothing and an everything. Everything is nothing. Nothing is everything.
and all these happenings that seem to occur, like you just, right, or, so,
They only seem to occur to the individual seeker who still believes in such a thing as time, in which things seem to occur like a linear thing, this and that. Those things occur to the seeker. In reality, they are just what is. This is a terrible message. So, it just is awful. And the seeker. So in a way, you could say that there are two things that happen here. In a sense, what's happening here is the intention is reaching emptiness. So usually, well, that's invariably what happens. Intention in meeting emptiness gets nowhere and decides to rush off and find something else, or dismisses what's being said and in some way or other makes up a story about it. The other thing is, that can possibly happen, although there's nothing happening at all, is that the seeker, the intention, meets emptiness and starves to death. Nobody does that. It's what apparently seems to happen. But it's still, in the end, immediacy.
So basically, everything that's happening means nothing. So it doesn't have time or stick or
No, not
or
at all.
right. So then it is nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay. And so, because I think I was trying too hard before I got here, of course. But so if I'm with other people who don't even know this message, it really makes no difference.
Of course, nothing makes any difference.
Right.
Whether you're with people who do know or nobody knows it, but regardless of the situation, it needs no requirements. It has no need. Nothing is all there is. It needs nothing.
Okay, I see that now.
It is already complete.
I didn't see it when I was home, but I see it
Yes.
now.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, you were never at home.
So, what may or may not appear is the ending of seeking.
But only apparently, yeah. There is no real seeking.
Yeah, but would there be
We
any
believe
sign?
there is, or feels there is, suddenly there's no more.
Would there be any signs of the seeking ending?
It's indescribable. It's, yes. You could say yes. But I wouldn't attempt to describe it.
I would
People
say,
try to. They ring me up and try to. And there's a sense that comes from something absolutely genuine or not. But when they can't describe it, it feels like it's much more genuine. So if somebody goes into a long, complicated description of it, somewhere they're still in the dream and they think something's happened to them in a story.
yeah, I kind of get this feeling that I've never been so close of losing the sense of I, yet at the same time feeling I've never been so far away from it.
So that last bit.
Yet at the same time I feel I've never been so far away from
Right,
it.
okay. Yes, you are both.
Thanks.
In a way, you're far away from it by looking for it, but that far awayness is also a. That's the awful thing about this message. You can't escape unconditional love.
Tony, are animals more in tune with this?
They're not in tune, they're just our being.
Yeah,
Animals are simply being,
yeah,
just as grass is.
yeah, but they're closer to what you're talking about.
No, they're a lot closer.
Right,
You don't get closer to them. They never ever get closer to this.
right,
There is only this.
yes,
But there's also, in the individual, uniquely, a searching for this. Nothing else searching for this, because already everything else is this.
yes, yes. But is an animal an example of what you're talking about in a way?
Well, it's impossible to say anything is an example of it.
Right, yeah, yeah. I just mean more of an example than humans. You know, nearer to what you're saying than.
And they're not nearer.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get nearer to this. You never will ever get nearer to this. Because your attempt to get nearer to this is this also.
yeah.
But the animal isn't nearer. The animal and the grass are simply beings, are simply what is.
Yes.
There isn't anything else that appears to be in the world that we recognise,
Yes.
other than this. There is only this.
Yes. So.
And uniquely, the individual, the human individual, can also feel I am this and want to find out why.
Yeah. Thank you.
And don't ask me why, because there is no answer.
Yes.
If you're living and there's nothing,
So yeah,
there's nothing happening, right? So the war in Ukraine appears to be happening, but it has no meaning. So is compassion and altruism something that has no meaning? Should we just say, I don't care?
no, well, saying I don't care has no meaning. No. There is compassion, but there is no one that's compassionate. Compassion destroys illusion.
Can you explain that a bit more?
No. Except that in a way, in a sort of way, that's what we're doing here. We are exposing or illuminating the fallacy of the idea that there is such a thing as separation or individuality. That's what's being exposed here.
So there
Now,
appears
you
to be
could-
compassion.
You could call that compassion, but it isn't anybody's compassion. It's the compassion of that which is free. Responding to that which believes or dreams that it isn't.
And so what do you feel, Tony?
I don't, but there isn't anybody here.
Sorry,
There's
yeah.
only what's happening,
Right.
feelings arise.
Right. But say something comes on the television about the war in Ukraine.
No, just, there's not that. It isn't the same thing. That, when television shows something like
Yeah.
Ukraine or anything,
Yeah.
it is what's apparently happening. It
Yeah.
is simply what's apparently happening. There's anything that happens here. There's a recognition that what is being shown on television is what's apparently happening. But there isn't some, something here that feels the urge or the need to do anything about that.
And there isn't an emotional reaction on
There can be,
it. Yes.
and,
Yes.
but it's not happening to anyone. The emotional reaction to what is shown on television, while we're talking about television, shown on television, is simply what happens. It doesn't happen to anyone because there isn't anyone.
The emotional reaction is the beloved feeling.
Well, there isn't anything that isn't the beloved.
Yeah.
So the non-reaction to some sort of horror on television is also the beloved.
The beloved. Yeah. But the beloved.
There isn't a good or bad. The only place there's a good or bad is in the illusion of the individual who lives in
Oh,
that
yes.
world.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's a dualistic world
Yes.
which splits everything, divides everything. Everything is divided in that world, but only apparently because it's illusion.
Yes. Yes. But the beloved. So the beloved doesn't have
No, it doesn't.
a different
No.
feeling.
The difficulty for the individual is that they tend
Yes,
to,
yeah.
what you're,
Yeah.
I suggest doing is dividing into good and bad, or
Yeah.
needy and not needy. Not real, it's a neutral.
It's a hard one to.
Yeah. When you've been brought up, we've all been brought up, let's say in simple terms, with a Christian background, or some of us haven't, but I mean, to keep it simple, I was born, I was born, and then in a few years, I lived in the environment of the Christian world. And I grew up with being indoctrinated with the idea that there was such a thing as good and bad. So naturally, when we start listening to a message like this, we would at first apply those principles to that. Whereas in fact, if the response comes out of nothing, there's a beginning of a recognition that there is no such thing as good or bad, but above or below.
So there's no such thing as moral
No,
principles or
God, no.
anything. Yeah, yeah. I think I see that now. Yes, thank you.
So isn't it sort of a joke in a way?
Right?
Isn't it sort of a joke in a way?
It's the cosmic joke.
Right.
But God is a comedian without an audience that laughs.
Yeah, because I think I had so many ideas about what was going to happen, and so many fantasies.
Well, this makes the nonsense of the whole
Yeah,
dualistic reality.
yeah.
Well, it doesn't. That makes it sound as though it divides it, but the whole basis of this thing exposes the dualistic world as being wonderfully and amazingly illusory in every way.
Yeah, but it's so simple. It's so simple. Like
It's just this is the beloved. This is unconditional love. This is sitting on it.
Hello. Is there no connection or any connection between truth and the illusion or reality?
Between
Truth,
a tree.
truth,
There's
nothingness,
no truth.
nothingness.
There's no truth and there's no.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that.
There only is what is.
Yeah.
Truth comes out of an idea or a suggestion of something that comes from the mind. And
So-
then people ask if that's true or not. But that's all in the dualistic world. True, untrue. There's no
If we
truth,
can forget-
there's no untrue. There is only what is. And that's absolutely true.
If the word is the problem, then
Aware.
the word.
Oh, the word.
If there is nothing,
Well, if there is nothing, there doesn't need to be a truth. It's only in the dualistic world of right and wrong that the idea of truth arises.
mhm.
Is that true? Therefore, it can be depended on. Just forget it. I'm not thinking you can forget it, but I'm just saying just forget it.
Is it in a way not even worth mentioning, or
Say that again.
is it in a way not even worth mentioning?
It's in a way.
Is it in a way not even worth mentioning?
Well, yeah, you can't make people mention something or not. Just rather.
Do you have any more jokes about the Gangaji? I think you had one with her or something.
About Gangaji.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of jokes. Well, I better not say that. Gangaji.
Or the one with Jesus and the nail business or something, the nail shop.
Oh, there's lots of jokes. I don't tell jokes anymore, but there is one joke I quite like.
Okay.
So, two friends, one's sitting in the train and the other one just comes through and sits down. And the first one says, did you get some tickets? And he said, yeah, I did. He said, but I bought tickets from the new ticket lady, who is absolutely gorgeous. And I made a Freudian slip. So the other guy said, what's a Freudian slip? He said, well, when you're thinking of something else and it comes out verbally, you know, so instead of asking a ticket to Pittsburgh, ask for a ticket to Pittsburgh. So the other guy took this, and anyway, 3 days later the other guy got on the train and met the other guy and said, oh, I've made a Freudian slip too. So he said, oh, tell me what that was. So he said, so at breakfast this morning, instead of saying to my wife, would you kindly pass the toast, I said to her, you ruined my life.
That was a good one. It seems like it takes the seriousness out of everything.
Hi, Tony. I just wanted to ask if you could talk about the recognition that you had when you first described your book amongst, like, I think you said 6 people or non-people were there.
Oh, only the recognition that
Yeah.
when I started talking to people about this,
Yeah.
what is, there was a sense, oh, this is what you're about, let's say. I mean, I was about 68 years old, having run 2 businesses, but having been a seeker for some part of that, when I started talking to people about this, the whole thing sort of fell into place.
Did it,
Yes.
did it feel like energy kind of like waking up to its non-self or something?
Sorry?
Did it feel like energy kind of like waking up to itself kind of thing? Or
Well,
did it
the
evolve,
actual
or-
energy of, you could say that, this is very difficult to use in words, but the dropping away of individuality or separation is like a timeless thing. It isn't something that really happens. And it can't be described. It didn't necessarily happen then, well, it didn't happen then, but there was simply a recognition. Talking about that sort of thing was what this was about.
Thanks.
I mean, I've talked to thousands of people, and quite a number of those are no more in the separate individuality dream anymore. But most of the, well, nearly all of those people don't communicate. They would to friends or whatever, maybe in some way, but they haven't become what you would call communicators. Very, very few of them. Hardly a handful of people, as far as I'm concerned.
Only the funny ones.
As far as I'm concerned, communicate this in a very direct and out of nothing. And that's out of many, many people who are no more separate. Well, there isn't really a person that's no more separate. The whole sense of separation has dropped away. But they don't then become speakers.
Why do you communicate this?
I don't know. Did you ask that? I've no idea. It's just what happened.
Tone, who was you listening to when you had your who was you listening to? Who was your
No one. There wasn't
what just
anyone.
happened?
When I wrote The Open Secret, there was no one, and then I talked for years actually on my own about this. There was nobody that I knew of that talked about it.
I thought you was with us,
Sorry?
I thought you was with Osho.
Oh, but Osho
Did
is
you
a
go to-
teacher. This
Yeah,
is not a
India.
teaching. You've got the unique quality of this is that it doesn't recognise that there is anyone. It certainly recognises that there's nothing to teach and there's no path.
Don't you think
You
that
won't find that anywhere else.
No, I understand that. Don't you think that you go in there with sitting with people sitting in a space with
That's what the secret.
I'm just wondering, with that realization, did it stay, or you know, at that
Well, there
moment?
were glimpses before that, which are glimpses that there's no one. People don't have glimpses. They just aren't there.
Okay.
And that happened a few times over the many years. And when I was 21, actually.
Mhm.
The part thing I describe in the book. But there were a few other glimpses after that. And then suddenly there was a glimpse that didn't go away anymore.
Mhm.
I did.
So what I've had glimpses, but then it's clear when there aren't glimpses, if that makes sense. It's clear. So this becomes where now I might be making up things, not me, but trying to you know to find it,
Yeah,
so to speak.
Yeah.
As we're talking, I could see that this has definitely been happening. But I know you're going to say there's nothing to do, but really, I mean, what to do? Because,
No, there's nothing, because this has absolutely nothing to do with anyone. This has got nothing to do with the individuality at all, in any way. Whatever the apparent individual's dreams it does or doesn't do, or learns or doesn't learn, has absolutely no significance as far as this is concerned. And by the way, there's quite a lot of people that I know who've never had a glimpse who are now no more in that dream.
it seems very painful, in a way.
Sorry?
This seems painful. Like I feel tears. Like I feel sad about it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're saying there's no one here even to feel sad. So
No, but that's what's happening.
that's what's happening. Okay.
Why do you call the unknowable the beloved?
It's just one of my personal, well, it's just one of those things I always have done. I like the word beloved.
Would you say that nothing is full of potential?
So,
Nothing is full of potential, or it's just nothing? Nothing.
I'm not sure of your question. There is only nothing. Everything is nothing. Or the beloved, or
Like the appearance.
or unconditional love. Although unconditional love, those sort of things, for me, are sort of it, in a way, but they're not. No words are. But beloved is the word I use. In the same way as I would use nothing or unconditional love.
Because it is unknowable. You can't
It's unknown.
describe it.
Hi, Tony. Just as there's seeking, I'm also thinking that also there's no way of evading this either.
Well, there isn't anyone. Well, there is what apparently happens. So there isn't this way or that way.
So there's nothing I can do or not
There isn't
do.
an I to do anything. And there's nothing to do. There is only what is.
Thank you.
And even if you dream that it is you doing something, it is simply what is. And whatever seems to happen can only ever have been that. So you have no past because you aren't anyone, you never were anyone. There is only what's apparently happened. And what you think of as the past.
Hi, Tony. So this is like space-time is kind of repeating itself. So it's like so this is like history is repeating itself. So it's like all the characters in the 2nd century, the Buddhists, the Shaivites, so everybody in the 2nd century. This is like the same things going on now in the 20th century.
Probably, I don't know. I don't know enough about Buddhism to know.
In terms of energy,
So
it's
what?
just...
It's only
Well, the interesting thing is now that science is basically... Science is basically saying that there isn't, space-time is not fundamental, which it wasn't doing that in the 2nd century. Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay. It's all a story by the time.
It is, yeah, exactly.
No, there is no time. Time is simply an appearance. Time is nothing appearing as time. It's not real, so there's no time. So no, there's no body either that lives in time either. It only appears to. The body appears to live in time. But it has no relevance of any kind at all.
It can hold a lot of
Only apparently. Yeah. But you sound as though you believe it's true.
it's the body.
It's what you've learned. That the body holds trauma. Is what I believe you're saying.
It just feels like it's tired and just wants to lay down and just...
Okay. So that's what's apparently happening. But none of it is real. It's an appearance. And the idea that you could do something about not being tired is also an appearance. It has no meaning of any kind at all. Is that all right? It's an appearance actually to me.
Light at the end of the tunnel. There's a lot of light
There's
going
no
through
tunnel.
you, Tony.
There's no light, there's no tunnel.
I've got my sunglasses on in a minute. Oh, it's dazzling.
Oh, light.
Light, yeah, there's loads of light coming from you.
Well, I can't help that.
Light. It's like it's full on. Too much. It's lovely. I understand that, but I don't understand anything.
Don't try it. This is beyond understanding.
Yeah. The light's not coming from the wall, is it?
No, it's me. It's just pure rage. I asked Claire about switching it down before we got here, but she tried at the back there.
Turn
It
it
didn't.
down.
I can't help it, it's
Blaze.
radiance. Radiant goodness.
You like the sun. Has anybody else said that?
Oh, lots of people. They keep on complaining. I mean, our next door neighbour's quite angry.
When you're looking around in the room, the so-called room, what do you see as the so-called people? I mean,
Just bodies.
just bodies,
Apparently.
empty bodies,
Yeah.
empty forms.
Mm.
Mhm. Okay.
But just so that we're clear about it, that those bodies have an energy, which well, when the apparent individual is no more or is somehow not there anymore, investigating or analysing or having preset ideas about what's happening in that body, then the intuition becomes much more open. And so although there's a body there, there's a sense of what's going on. energetic.
And each body has its individual.
Well, it doesn't have that. That's the works what you get from it.
Okay.
It's got from it. It seems to arrive.
Compassion. I thought I heard compassion dissolve seeker.
Doesn't dissolve it. It just exposes it.
Expose.
It just exposes
Expose.
So what is compassion?
It's a readiness to expose illusion.
It's what?
The readiness to expose illusion. It's unconditional love.
That's intense.
Sorry?
That's nice, thank you.
Just on that readiness to expose illusion, but it's a secret, so it can never be exposed.
It's only a secret to that which is trying to find it.
I mean, we can't.
Once it's over, it's no longer a mystery or a secret. It just is what is. It's not a mystery. It's quite obvious that there is only what is. But all the time there's a seeking energy, and then that which it seeks is hidden from it because of the energy of intention that the seeker has, which means that which isn't.
That which is still, there's a sense of separation, will reject this, any attempt to expose illusion.
You ain't kidding, man.
As Jim would say, try telling that to the me.
Try telling that to the
me.
me.
The me.
Oh yeah.
The I, yeah.
Good old Jim.
You can't kind of go up to somebody on the subway and say, I can see you're an illusion there.
No.
You know, you need to know that there's no you. And that doesn't go down very well.
But even in seeking, if you're sitting in a room with seekers, or apparent seekers in the room, there will be an incredible resistance to what this is.
Possibly more.
Because it's about survival. I want to survive, so I'm going to either not listen to or ignore that bit of the afternoon's conversation.
Thank you.
I mean, I talk to people sometimes more on the phone than anything, but also at a meeting. And it doesn't matter how many times you tell them there is no one, there's no choice. They go on and on, looking for a choice with me. They don't want to hear that. It's called selective deafness.
Is that annoying to you?
No, not at all. It's what it is.
Okay.
It is what it
So
is.
you don't have that feeling of annoyance?
No, it's what it is. It wouldn't be. It doesn't really say annoyance doesn't arise in that sort of instance. It is what it is. I'm used to it.
So it could arise, but it doesn't have anywhere to go. It just.
No.
Okay. I have a different question. Just curious. What are your dinner parties like? What do you,
We don't have dinner parties.
but I mean, do you just?
If we did have dinner parties, it would depend who's there. It's very unlikely that we talk about this, although it's possible.
Mm-hmm. So you just talk about regular things.
Weather, partly.
Or I mean regular, like just
Yeah, regular, what, proper things.
proper thing.
Regular, proper things.
So the apparent seeker is also the beloved.
So that again,
The apparent seeker is also the beloved.
of course,
So
that's only the beloved.
that's right.
That's what you asked an hour ago. The same thing you asked an hour ago.
Hey, so all there is what is. Or did Claire see that?
Sorry?
Did Claire see that?
Nobody sees it. I didn't see it. Nobody sees it. That's all there is this. It's just that all there is this. It's not a something that can be seen.
So there isn't even anything that can be said.
Who's,
There isn't anything that can be said.
no. There's lots of things that can be said, but they're meaningless.
Nothing important. Nothing important.
There isn't anything that's important anyway. There is only what is and is not. Apparently.
So even saying it's energetic is also just words.
Angelic,
Yeah, even saying that is also just words.
words are not it, but they point to it. They can only point. So it's all away from it.
How can you point away? How can you point away from it? It's,
By suggesting that there is someone who can find something. But that's also the beloved.
Over here. Yeah. Can you speak to the felt pain or struggle that the seeker goes through? This
Can I speak to the felt?
pain or struggle that the seeker feels and goes through, and the exhausting nature of that. That energy that does what it does.
It simply exacerbates the seeking.
Sorry, say that again.
It simply exacerbates the seeking. It encourages and reinforces the sense that there's something to find.
It's incredibly painful and heavy, and
Well, I don't care if it's only lightly painful and heavy. The gradations of suffering are irrelevant.
and why does it do that?
And there's no reason. It's just what happens, apparently.
And why does it happen?
There's no reason why it happens. It
Why?
just apparently happens.
Why is there no reason?
Because there's no reason.
Why is there no reason? Because there's no reason.
There's no reason for anything. It just is what is. And it's beyond time and space. It's not going anywhere, and it hasn't come from anywhere. It just is what it is.
It's still exhausting.
Well, the exhaustion is what is. Would you like me to apologise
Would it help?
I mean, there's just even just a validation of it is exhausting.
There's no, well, if you say
Would
this,
help.
I'm sure you'll.
Sorry, say that again.
If you say it is exhausting, then that's what's heard here. But I'm not going to validate the idea that you are suffering, because there is no you to suffer.
Suffering is occurring, is happening.
Apparently, yeah.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
not real.
It's not real.
Nothing is real.
There's a brain function that creates a feeling.
Maybe, yeah. So what?
Can there be compassion for it? For that?
Here we go. You're trying to find something that would make it okay. Compassion can only elucidate the absolute hopelessness of the seeker trying to find an answer to their suffering.
No one has anything.
There is no one. No, there is no one.
So a mom and dad appears, but they are also no one.
It's in the story. They aren't real. There's nothing that's real.
But you say it's real and unreal, right?
You could say that. I think some people find that a bit confusing. It's nothing appearing as mum and dad.
Right. So everything is impersonal.
So
Everything is impersonal.
everything is what it is. If something is personal, then that is what is.
And no one has ever done anything.
There's no one.
And nothing is happening.
And nothing's happening.
Over here. I try to find the words for this. The thing, seeking is hopeless for reaching the beloved. It's very easy then to slip into thinking, stop seeking. But of course, that's irrelevant.
It's another form of seeking.
Yeah. This is all the song of the beloved, regardless.
Hello, Tony. When Tony Parsons was a Christian,
Or trying to be.
trying to be a
Not very
Christian,
successfully.
yeah, and I know this sounds like a story, but at some point there was no longer the sense of separation, or at some point did you stop praying?
Yeah, many years before, when I was a teenager, I stopped playing.
As a teenager?
Yeah, I
Oh, well done.
had a very strong feeling there was nobody listening.
And was, okay, so if that's a teenager, obviously that was long before you went to Osho, and so you were very young.
Yeah, but Osho hadn't got anything to do with this.
No.
Osho, like Jesus, was just another teacher.
I just wondered if there was ever in your mind when you were praying any sense that of the beloved,
Oh, long
and whether
before-
that confused you later.
No, long before I was praying,
Yeah.
when I was very young, there was a sense of the beloved. I already decided when I was about 5 years old that if God wasn't everything, then he wasn't much fucking use.
Yes.
I didn't want a second-rate God, really. So obviously I thought in terms of God at that time. But for me, there wasn't any question that God had to be everything and all loving. So when I got into the Christian thing, I was sort of learning something that I didn't really respect.
Yeah. Mm. I can relate to that. I, for whatever reason, in my 30s, late 30s, I think, did the confirmation thing.
Oh yeah, I did that.
And I remember talking to a priest who said, was talking about good and evil, and I said, well, surely it's all one. There's only God, and everything is the face of God, or whatever you want to say it. And her answer was, yes, but there is evil in the world.
Oh, right, okay.
What would you say to that priest?
Now, well, that they're living in a dream.
Yeah.
A dualistic dream, evil and good. One and the other, two.
That's how I felt at the time.
Well, the majority of people in the world live in duality.
Yeah.
They live in that sense of themselves being real and everything else being real but separate. So most people are brought up to believe or come to believe in a dualistic world and experience.
So when you're talking about, we talk about Ukraine and you talk about the crisis of the me, you're not talking about good and evil. You're not talking about any kind of
I'm only
force
talking about what
of evil.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think because it happened to me later in life, stopped praying, there was a confusion. I thought I was praying to the beloved. I thought I was praying to him.
Right, okay.
But yet that did not sit well in some way.
No.
Never kind of, as you say, nobody's really listening. Or whatever it is that's listening, you've got no sense of what it is at all. So I've only recently stopped praying.
Oh,
quite
dear.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
That's not good enough.
I managed to give up cigarettes.
No, well,
at
that's
50. That was quite good, wasn't it? Thank you.
So when we were talking about Ukraine, and you were saying that's just what is, and then other times we say nothing's happening, and it seems to be a contradiction. Can you explain?
Oh no,
this?
well no, I can't explain the mystery. Nobody can. It's beyond comprehension. It's a paradox. All it is nothing. This is nothing. Apparently happening. There's nothing real about what's happening, it's just an appearance of nothing apparently happening. So Ukraine is nothing apparently happening.
Okay, and it also is what is.
Sorry?
And it also is what is.
It's what is and is not, you could say.
Okay.
It is in that it seems to be appearing to happen, and it is not because it's nothing appearing to happen.
Okay.
Is that okay?
It is.
So what's behind that? Okay.
Because it for the person, for the seeker, let's say for the seeker, you know, if I'm trying to understand it, it almost does this little trick in the mind, you know, where how to respond to anything that's happening, or
How
how to respond to what is.
Oh, I see.
You know what I
But
mean?
that comes from the idea that there is someone there that can respond.
I see.
So you're still in the dream.
Okay.
There isn't anyone.
So then it doesn't even matter. If it's
Well, the
apparently
question of
happening.
me not mattering, it is that there is no one, and there's also the appearance of something happening in Ukraine. The idea that one can do something about Ukraine is obviously an illusion.
Okay. And that's why it would my question would matter because I would be here asking this question.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Shane, how did you get into the kingdom of heaven?
How do you want?
How did you
Get into the kingdom of heaven. Like everybody's.
By being
So
very
hard.
clear that there isn't one.
That man stopped smoking.
Or by being
over
very
there,
clear
and
that this is the kingdom of heaven.
Oh, that man stopped smoking and everything, and that's good.
Oh,
Many joke.
good. That's a relief.
Yeah, this is the kingdom of heaven. I agree. Yeah. It's not so easy.
What does that mean, you agree? So as you're concerned, there's nothing else but this.
Yeah, when I'm sitting with you, yes, I do agree. Yeah, on my own, it doesn't. It's not that. So I understand, seem to understand when I'm sitting with you. But then when I go home, the mist clears a bit, back into the dim and distance into the, past, and back in my mind. And I've come ever such a lot. It's costing me thousands. So what advice would you give me?
Sorry?
What advice would you give me?
I think you'd better come and live with me, really.
Yeah. Right. Like that. Actually, I could be a housekeeper.
Sorry?
Housekeeper. I could be your housekeeper.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of housekeeper.
So I don't have a life.
No, there is just life.
Right.
Apparently. Nobody has it because there's nobody. There's only aliveness, beingness, the beloved, unconditional love, unconditional freedom. Da 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 da.
But those are just words. Or,
Yeah. But they point to something.
yeah. And it's unknowing everything.
Yeah. But that is unknowing. Just there being aliveness and a person that knows anything.
What?
Well, there's just aliveness. There isn't a person
Yeah.
who would then presume to know something.
Yeah.
This is aliveness.
I feel some say it's a loss in a way.
The loss is, the loss is the individual is apparently active, and has lost its innocence by becoming an individual and learning to know so that it become an effective adult person. Can you hear me at the back? Will I? Yeah. Seems to be better.
How are you feeling? Just saying.
Start again.
How are you feeling? Just saying what you just said. Like, can you hear me?
Nothing,
there is no one that you're talking about yourself.
There's no feeling here. There's no one. There's just something saying, "Can you hear me?" It's just happening.
So who is me?
No, there's no me that's saying that. There just is something saying, "Can you hear me?" Nothing. It's nothing saying, "Can you hear me?"
Hi, nothing.
Sorry?
Hi, nothing.
What is the fear about this message?
Yeah, it can be.
Because of not knowing.
You don't want to let go of your knowing. I'm not asking. Are you frightened of losing your knowledge, or what you believe to be your knowledge?
Which includes a feeling of sense of being a person, which includes a sense of being a person in that knowing, or it's part of it, or it goes together.
What is intuition? What is intuition?
Intuition is a sort of sense of something that's beyond the intellect.
I thought you said earlier that it's got something to do with the body. The less we check with the body, the more.
Not really, no, it's just intuition.
But you mentioned, sorry if I get it wrong, correct me, but I understood that the less we check with the body, the more intuition arises.
No, I wasn't saying that. What I was saying is that when the sense of individuality, that obviously has a huge investment in knowing everything in an intellectual way, or analysing everything in an intellectual way, when that energy isn't there anymore, it seems, and I've talked to other people about this, that there seems to be much more room or just an intuitive feeling about people or things.
And what about trust?
No, trust is something that only arises in the dualistic dream.
I don't get it.
Sorry?
I don't get it. Can you elaborate?
Well, trust is usually based on two people, or the trust of one person about some information that they've received from somebody else that they believe is true. So in that way, it's still just a split sort of happening.
An ultimate trust?
No, well, ultimate is just another word. It's the same thing. It's still a trust between one and another.
Certainty?
Sorry?
Certainty? No doubts? I'm trying to figure
Yeah,
out.
that's what, but it only happens in the dream of there being two, well, let's say, keep it simple, two people, based on the information that one has received that it trusts the other one about.
The next question would be trust to itself, but of course you say self doesn't exist.
Well, you could trust in the belief that you have of yourself. But when there is the simple illusion of there being anyone is no more, there's nothing to trust.
So, listening to some people, for them the falling away of the me, the self.
The apparent falling away.
Okay, the apparent falling away of the me, the self. It seems to be a very disturbing, well, process or happening, apparent process or happening. Yeah, I've just been listening to somebody online who really clearly seems to have happened for, and she was just talking about how difficult and how much of a struggle it was to lose the me. And I wondered whether that's just something that happens in some cases and not in others.
I don't think it did happen. You think what she's talking about is still in the dream.
What she's talking about is still in the dream.
Well, it seemed to happen in the dream, and she may have said that it was falling away of the individual.
Yeah.
And so on, but it doesn't feel like it.
So,
I've never heard of anybody talking about it as though it's the actual timeless event is a struggle.
I don't know, not so much the timeless event, the kind of sort of repercussions for the individual, maybe if it's happening over time.
No, it doesn't happen over time. It's
Right.
timeless. She might have been talking about a struggle in her own individual dream world with her idea of who she was, but then that happens to a lot of people. It's got nothing to do with a sudden dropping away, let's call it, although it isn't that.
Yeah.
The sudden timeless and dropping away of the sense of separation.
Yeah.
It isn't actually in time, but if you want to call it an event for the sake of the simplicity of this question,
Yeah.
then it's not, there isn't anybody struggling. It just is that their whole sense of separation is no longer there, and there is only what is. It's not a struggle, because there isn't anybody struggling.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So maybe what was being talked about.
I'd have to hear what she's saying, actually.
Right.
So
Sure.
I think she's talking about what she thinks is her preparation, which of course it isn't, to be ready to let go. There is no one that can be involved in that.
Yeah, maybe it's difficult to communicate secondhand, but yeah, it was like a shock for her that the self falling away seemed like a shock. Yeah, maybe it was that talked about before, that sort of in and out thing. Maybe she was still going in and out of that, and the out part, as it were, was struggling, and then she was going in and out. Maybe it was that. I don't know.
Tony, hi. You've said many times before to me, and I've heard you saying to other people as well, this has nothing to do with you. And I'm desperate to turn this into something personal that I can get.
Right.
Would you say... Would you say that the me has absolutely no idea what you're talking about?
Well, the me is just an illusion. There isn't a me. And I grow up because of all sorts of things, believing in the fact that we are a real person. So you could call the real person a me. But that real person that we apparently grow up with is not real. It's just an appearance. And the illusion that there is somebody there that that's real, that can make choice, and moving on the path towards a better experience, is part of that dream. And I forgot what you asked me now.
I said to you, is it fair to say that the me has no idea what you're talking about?
That's absolutely. How would it have when what I'm talking about completely dismisses it as an illusion?
Yeah, because the me can only imagine an object in front of it to go for.
That's how it lives. Yeah.
Or to grasp at. And I've got no idea what this is if it's not an object.
No, of course not. Absolutely.
You can't say anything about this, can you? No. You keep saying it's nothing, or it's not an object, or it's unknowable, or whatever, you know.
It's just words.
That's not going to tell the me.
No, not at all. Nothing ever will. Nothing ever will tell them to me what this is, what is. This is energetic rather than anything that's logical or has anything to do with understanding.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony, is in the chair there in front of us simply an energy.
Well, energy, yeah.
Yeah, that isn't experiencing anything. Isn't experiencing anything. Not
No,
experiencing.
there's no, all the time there's an individual, the individual experience is, the individual is an experience of.
Oh, right.
When that illusion falls away, there's no experience.
Yes, that's what I mean, that
No.
for that person.
There's nothing here
Parsons,
that experience.
does that person called Tony Parsons experience?
No, no.
Yeah.
There isn't really a person called Tony Parsons.
Oh, right.
There is nothing.
Yeah, so it's an energy that's sort of free floating through life and
Well, there isn't really a life to go through.
right.
There just is immediacy. There just
Yes.
is life.
Yes. But it's free floating and it doesn't matter particularly what's going on around it all. It just is able to it just whatever happens
Is what's happening.
is just happening and it's not affected by it.
You can't say that. Well, it depends what you mean by affected. There isn't an individual. There isn't anything there that's affected by it.
Yes.
But there can be an effect in what seems to be happening.
Yes, to yes.
But not to
Yes,
anyone.
yeah. And can it give a slight well, I know an individual.
There can be a response to that.
A response, yes. Is there a slight experience? I know the experience implies individual, but is there an experience of slight floatiness or haziness or dizziness?
Not here. No.
Within life, no?
There's nothing about floating. It just is what there is.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So the experience is neutral. It's a neutral.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Yes.
On its own. There isn't anything that has
Yes. But if anything happens that needs to be responded to,
it will probably
will
be
respond.
experienced.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee of that.
Right. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And then I think it starts at 10 o'clock. Thank you. And don't forget to say your prayers tonight.